Greetings, everyone. My name is Kashif Mahmood, and I'm the Director of Deployments at YouAttest, which is the cloud-based identity and auditing tool. And we laser focus on identity access reviews for any resource. Today, I'm going to explain or show you in a walkthrough or a demo how we do these attestations. If you have an identity store in place and there is an integration with that identity store using, YouAttest, and we use SAML connectors and OpenID connectors to fetch the data, only the users and groups and the metadata from your Azure AD or any identity store for that matter, could be Okta, could be JumpCloud, or anything else. The problem at hand in today's video is the siloed resources, as we call them, because there are certain applications in many organizations that are not connected, or they're not in sync with your main or central identity store of record. For example, if we take Azure AD, then there must be some applications that are still there, legacy applications there in the organization that you've been using for a decade, but they're not connected to your central identity store. So we provide for you to do the attestation for those resources in addition to the IAM tools and the identity stores that we do integration with. So both of these use cases will be I'll be showing you in this video today. But let me show you how we do it usually when you have integration in place with the identity store, and how we are going to create the report for those siloed applications that are not connected to your central identity store, and how we get the orphan accounts or orphan IDs out of those resources so that you can have a clean data that you can use for your regular audits. So let me just go ahead and share my screen real quick. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is the YouAttest dashboard, one view for all the audits. Now, watch where I go from here. I mean, it's just a simple integration that we do in order for you to create those audits automatically, right? So the integration process is pretty straightforward. If you are an admin of your Azure dashboard or Okta or any identity store for that matter, you will be able to get these API keys and the tenant ID and this fun stuff, all these two or three pieces of information if you are an admin in Azure or any of the identity stores. Once you punch in these three pieces here, it only takes like a couple of minutes to get the integration done. And after that, you can just simply run these audits in real time that will be fetching the information for you from your Azure tenant, from your identity store. But at the same time, if you would like to go one step further and you would, just go ahead and decide to enable your single sign-on, we use SAML connector to enable a single sign-on and connect into your Azure AD, and it will take another 8 to 10 minutes max. And within 15 minutes of starting this integration, your solution, the YouAttest IGA solution, will be implemented and deployed. So the implementation deployment time is pretty fast, and you don't have to wait days or weeks for that implementation. So after your implementation is done, you can just create these auto audits. And what I'm going to explain to you today is for example, if you are in SOX compliance and you need to run an application audit to show who are the users who have access to certain applications. Now that the integration is in place, the tool is capable of fetching the information that what are the applications that are part of your Azure tenant in this case, and we'll provide you a list of those applications that you can select from and select your target application to see who has access to that application or those applications. So let's proceed and select your API source, which in this case is Azure AD. I'm just going to name the audit so you can remember, and this link will be available to the reviewers to click on and get into this audit and complete their task. The date is the important thing here because you are deciding the time frame within which your reviewers will need to complete the audit. So let's say I just keep it to next week, and upon clicking next, now here are the applications that are part of my Azure instance at the moment. They're syncing with Azure AD, and I can select single or multiple applications from here and see who has access to it. That's for the starter. Just let's select this finance or one app and click done. Once you do that, it's going to fetch the information and populate that over here. You will see the K3 audit. Once you, well, at a glance, it will show you how many unique users are there in this campaign, right? Since you haven't started working on it, nothing has been assigned, nothing has been reviewed. So it's showing you the progress at 0%. And so are the corresponding assigned and reviewed columns. Let's go inside the audit and see what we have in there. So this is the target app, Finance 01, that I selected in the start of the process. These are all the users and their profile data that is necessary for any reviewer to look at and decide whether the person should be given access or we should revoke his access to this particular application. Here you see the immediate manager that this person is reporting to, the user status, if it's active or inactive. If there's any inactive, it's going to show that as well, like here. So these are the ones that should be of concern. If they're inactive, there could be multiple reasons why a user is inactive and it's still sitting there. It should have been dealt with. So you need to find out who this user is and why is it in the inactive state. And then if there is a description of this application, it's going to show here as well. If not, it's going to show that it's not available. If the field in Azure AD has not been filled properly, it's going to come back with not available if information is not there. Then if when you have this set of information here, now it's pretty easy for you to decide whether this person should have access to this Finance 01 application or not, depending upon what role he or she has, within the department or within the company. Then before I go into the functionality, I'll just show you, although you have selected one application, right, to see who has access to it, but that does not mean it stops you from seeing other applications he has access or she has access to. Although you will not be able to do the certified revoke operation for those applications, you'll only be able to do that for the application that you've selected, in this case Finance 01. But at the same time, it will also show you what other applications this person has access to. So for example, we selected Finance 01, but in addition to this, Ashley has access to YouAttest and My App, these two applications as well. So altogether, there are 3 applications she can access right now. And I'm sorry, same is the case with the groups. So you can see which groups is a user part of within the organization. So you can make an informed decision whether to certify or revoke the access, right? Okay, let me just go back and show you the functionality real quick. Let me just go here. And okay, so now that you have this information ready, these are the options or functions YouAttest provides to a risk manager and to reviewers that they can either recommend to certify, recommend to revoke, or if neither of these two is the objective, you being a risk manager, and you're only just compiling this data, or creating this campaign to get the evidence and get the process completed by those people who are more relevant to this. In this case, it could be the business unit manager, it could be someone else who needs to review their access. So in that case, you can delegate to those people by using these two functions here. Auto delegate, it lets you do the automatic delegation just with a single click, because what the system does upon auto delegation, it starts looking for this information, that who's the manager this person is reporting to, and then it will start pushing out emails and along with, will link to this audit to those reviewers, letting them know that, hey, you have to participate in this audit campaign that have been assigned to you, and these are the users, maybe one or two or multiple users that have been assigned to you. So go ahead and open that audit up and do the you can revoke or certify, or you can further delegate out to more people. So let me just go ahead and auto delegate just to show you what it does. A little refresh on the page, and here you go. It shows you that auto delegation has been completed, and here you go. I got the email as a reviewer. Now, in this case, I am a risk manager. Now, I am going to switch to a role where I am a reviewer, and I am getting this email from my admin, from a risk manager, that this audit has been created and there are certain users that have been assigned to you. So once I click on this audit, I'll see this link, I'll see the same audit. But if there are two people assigned to me, I'll be able to see only these two, not all of the members that are part of this campaign, which only an admin or a risk manager can see in the campaign, right? So let's say a reviewer will select all the users that have been assigned to him, and he is okay with their access. He'll just go ahead and recommend to certify. Now, the set of information you as a risk manager is going to see, and also the reviewers are going to see whatever they have recommended for the users that have been assigned to him, is this information here, that if they have certified it, if they have revoked it, it's going to say the same, along with the person who took that action, and then there will be a timestamp on that when exactly this action was taken. So as soon as you complete the audit and it's at 100%, everyone has completed their task, the risk manager then goes to the application listings page, audit listing page, and see this audit has been 100% complete. Now he can mark it as complete, right? As soon as it gets completed, because it will stop anyone from making any further changes to the audit and to the recommendations a risk manager or the reviewers have made for this audit. So this has been locked out now. Upon completion, you will see this execute button. It will become enabled. What it does, instead of logging into your Azure AD to execute whatever you recommended in this audit, you can take care of that by staying within this console and doing it right from here. So once you confirm that, if there is a revocation, it will take place automatically within your Azure AD, and the account or the ID will be deactivated, not deleted, deactivated. And then later on, it can be deleted if decided. If that person is no longer with the company, that account can be taken care of by deleting it. So it will deactivate the account, revoke the access of that person, to that application. At the end of the process, the risk manager gets a report, either in a CSV format, if it involves further slicing and dicing of the data to make it more presentable according to your requirements, or you can get it in PDF format. PDF is a bit cleaner than CSV because CSV has raw data, but it covers everything that you see inside this campaign. It will be there. And I think, let me just open the PDF real quick just to show you what it looks like. So that's what the PDF looks like. When you email it out to you, it'll have everything in it, the user profile, all the attributes that you saw in that campaign will be part of this report, along with the actions taken by the reviewers inside that campaign, along with the timestamp. So this is the report. Now, let's say this was the case where we had the integration, API integration in place, but there are cases where you have applications, legacy apps, that are sitting there and they're not syncing to your Azure AD or syncing into your identity store, whatever it is. For that, we have a report we call it siloed resource report, because if an application is sitting there for so many years and it's being used by a number of users, but there is no way to cross-check if those users still exist inside your identity store, and to correlate those identities, you need a lot of manual processes, and involve a lot of team members to take care of that, which is a cumbersome process if done manually. So what we've done, we have created this report. What it does, let me just show you on the next page, because it will make more sense if I do that there. Okay, so I'll just select the date. Now here comes the part where you upload a CSV. Well, where's that CSV coming from? It's coming from that siloed application that you have inside the organization. It's not connecting to your Azure AD in this case, but you can export the user and group information onto a CSV file, and YouAttest will compare the two identities on both sides, on the CSV and then on your identity store of record, and just cross-reference those to see if these IDs exist where they are supposed to exist inside your identity store. So let's say I have that file, which is this. I'm going to select that, and let me show you what the file looks like, so you have an idea what we are talking about. So this is the original CSV file, right? Now it has all the headers coming from that siloed application, right? So this column P is something that will be filled in or populated with data by YouAttest after comparing the IDs, what you have on this file here to what you have on your identity store. So that's what the CSV will look like. Now, please notice this column P, which is going to be part of the report along with whatever you have on your CSV right here. So let's go ahead and create the report. And then on the next page, since my integration is with my Azure AD at this time, it's the tenant is here. It's going to show me only that. If you have multiple integrations, it's going to show you that in this drop down. So I'm just going to go ahead and select my Azure AD, because this is my source of truth. This is my identity store that I would like to compare that CSV data with. So let me just select that, and let's come down to the user matching criteria. Now, to the left, I have all the fields in the dropdown that I see on my CSV file. These are all those headers. And to the right is my identity source field. So I have two options here. Either I can select an email from the CSV to compare on the other side, to the other side, and then I have a username. So it has to be the same on both sides. Let me select the email of that user, and then let me tell the system to compare that email and see if that same email exists on the other side. That's my identity store. Okay, so now I can email it to myself, to anyone in the organization by just typing in your email ID, YouAttest.com. And now you can just email the report out to yourself and download it from there. What that report contains, is it's the information on that column that I showed you, column P, will comprise of this data here. If the user ID is not available in your identity source of identity, then it's going to show you that it exists on your CSV, but it doesn't exist on your source identity. So you should be concerned about that identity. Either you need to get rid of it, or if it's still relevant, then you need to add those identities into the relevant groups to correlate and to show the connectivity and show the relevance on both sides of the resources, siloed as well as your identity store. Then it's also going to return the result if the user exists on both sides, but they're in inactive state. And then user exists on both sides and they are in active state. So this is not going to be a problem for you if they exist on both sides and they're active. But if they're inactive or they don't exist on the other side, then that's going to be a problem. So the report is going to show you this. So you saw in that original CSV file, these were all your headers, right? And the column P was empty. Now, the user criteria, after running this report, these are all those headers, but YouAttest returned column P with these results, that this ID exists on both sides, on both sources, but it's in an inactive state. So go do something about it. Then this ID exists on both sides, and it's in active state, so you don't have to worry about that. But these two, they are there on your CSV or the siloed application, but they don't exist in your identity source of identity. So you need to these are your orphan accounts that you need to take care of. And same is the case with if you go to, for that group matching criteria, and it will compare each user in the CSV with groups you have in your source of identity, and you need to mention those groups here that you want to target. For example, if you want to see if these users exist in your finance group, right? So you have a group in your Azure AD, but you want to see if the users that are using this finance application, whether they're part of that group. If not, then there's a problem. So that report, again, is going to bring back the results running the group matching criteria. Again, column P, right? But it's this time it's instead of user, it's saying group generation, a group categorization reason. Now this user is available in all the groups you selected, but they're in inactive state, right? He's in active state. This one is again available in all the groups and it's active, so not a problem. But these two, again, they don't exist in the finance group that you have inside your Azure AD, but they are still using the finance application that is not connected to your identity store. So you need to go take care of those, because these will be raising more concern in terms of orphan accounts. So that's what this report does. It lets you clean everything up in those siloed applications so that you can run your regular audits once you have cleaned everything up. And the regular audits is something I showed you in case of application audit, that you don't have any stale data in there. It's just active or inactive users. Maybe somebody has left the organization within a certain period of time, so you want to just make sure that he or she doesn't have access to application resources within the organization after he's left. So that's what will let you make sure that there are no orphan accounts in there after you clean them up by running this siloed resource report. So that's about it. But it's really helpful to the organizations who has some identity sprawl, and they are using some siloed applications on the side, even though they have Azure or Okta, any IAM tool in the cloud in place, but not everything is connected to your IAM tool or your identity source of identity. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, just send those questions over to us at info@youattest.com, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. Thank you. Have a nice day.